In this episode, I'm going to share with you how to reset your energy and get naturally high. Resetting your energy is like rebooting the system, and there are many ways to do it, but the most important reason why we need to learn how to reset or reboot our energy, because as a species we are so bombarded with stimulants, external stimulants like news, TV, magazines, billboards, advertising, social media, and we, without our realizing, are taking in so many bits of information per second, so many billions of bits of information per second, that we get a system overload. And if you find yourself finding it very difficult to switch off, difficult to sleep, have challenges inside of your body, then for sure this is all related to your inability to actually rest and reboot your system. This was me many years ago. I used to suffer from insomnia, I had physical challenges, I had emotional challenges, and it all came down to me not understanding how to rest my body and my mind. So I went on an absolute mission for several years to learn everything I could from some of the best teachers on the planet and apply what I learned. Some of the things that I discovered were my own, and some of the things I discovered were things that I picked up from other teachers. So in this episode, what I'm going to share with you is many different ways, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, about how to reset and reboot your system so you can get naturally high again. When I mean naturally high, what I mean is your natural energy rises to this beautiful buoyant space where you exist from and you get more green lights. When we are using stimulants like alcohol, drugs, caffeine to try and make ourselves feel better when we don't, then it can work for a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, when you are dependent on those external stimulants, that is when the problem arises. And I know that because that was me once upon a time, and it was only when I began to reboot my system that I saw incredible changes come about. Now, this has been over a period of 24 years. So I have 3 stages in which to share this information with you. Level 1, Level 2, and Level 3. Beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And the advanced person is the person that does all of these in one way or another. So I'm not asking you to do all of these. I'm just here to share and be your guide about how to reset your mind and body wherever you're at right now, so that you can feel a little better, feel a little lighter, and start to see those green lights in your life, so you can sleep better, you can feel better rested, so you can do your sport activities better, and you feel better about the way you are living your life emotionally, because it's your emotions that govern your state of well-being. And if you're emotionally reacting to absolutely everything, then what's happening is you're in a state of imbalance. This is stress, this is fight or flight the entire time. This was me once upon a time. It's where your cortisol levels are super high. So what we want to do in this particular episode is share some information that you can apply that will steady your energy, help you become more buoyant. So what I'm going to do in this episode is share with you several practical tools and strategies that you can apply that will improve the quality of your life by helping you reset and reboot your system very easily, very comfortably, by only making a few slight changes. Now, if you're a bit more of an eager soul, if you are really wanting some serious change, then you want to hang around to the end of this episode, where there are a few more advanced strategies that will help you reboot your system at a higher level. These aren't necessarily important for a beginner, but they are if you've been practicing some of these things for a little while. So the first thing that I'm going to share is why it's important that you want to reboot your system, because stress is the number one cause of disease on this planet. It's about 70 or nearly 80% of all challenges we experience as human beings is all related to stress at some level. Stress that we're either absorbing from our parents or the people we're living with, or stress about how we're turning up and reacting to life as such. Either way, stress is a huge pandemic issue that we're dealing with, And the only way to combat that is by understanding how to have effective rest, how to effectively reboot your system every single day in one way or another by having some strategies in place. Because when you have strategies in place and you learn and apply, that becomes wisdom. Because wisdom is knowledge applied. I keep sharing that, but when you really get that, you'll be thinking, oh, I did this and I got this result. That becomes very effective, and now you've got tools for your own well-being which you can apply. This is exactly how I began to pivot from being a person who experienced insomnia for a couple of years, many different types of issues, a bit of emotional instability from my side, to finding a lot more centeredness, finding a lot more calm, finding a lot more peace, finding a lot more happiness. Yes, it can take time, but it doesn't have to take time if you apply some of these things and get into your own groove. So let's begin with level 1 for the beginners, how to reset your energy. One of the first things we need to understand about your energy is the better sleep you have, the better you're going to show up tomorrow. So getting good quality sleep is huge, but a lot of us don't realize that sleeping before 12 a.m. is huge for your brainwave development. In fact, if you get to bed before 12 and you're actually asleep before 12, the quality of your sleep is enhanced significantly because you're actually tuning into delta brainwaves by about 3 a.m. So between 3 and 4 a.m. And as soon as you hit delta as a brainwave activity, that is deep, restful sleep, which means you feel so incredibly revitalized and fresh the next day. However, that is greatly reduced by sleeping or getting to bed after 12 a.m. So try and get to bed before 12 a.m. and actually be asleep. So like I try to settle into bed by about 10:30, and I might do a bit of reading, I might listen to a little bit of music. And this helps me, in my case, rest and replenish and look at the day from a nice, peaceful, calm perspective. So to get to sleep before 12 a.m. is huge, but also not to be watching news or checking social media heavily before you go to sleep, because that then is activating the brain. That blue light before you go to sleep is activating the brain, and again, it won't make for a restful night's sleep. So if you can, do your best to read, meditate, listen to gentle, calming music just before bed. And notice, if you can do that before 12 a.m., you are going to be way better rested, and you're going to have a prolonged period of time in that delta brainwave activity, which is one of the slowest brainwaves that will help you enjoy a greater quality of life tomorrow, and you're going to feel better rested. Number 2 on this level 1, really simple, is hydration. Hydration is important, you know that. However, using a little bit of lemon in your water will actually enhance the alkalinity in the body, which will move towards the gut, which will soothe the gut, which will clean the gut, which will soothe your nervous system. And if you're also using a bit of Celtic sea salt, which contains about 85 out of the 92 minerals that we need for the human body, that is amazing as well. So a little dab of Celtic sea salt on the tips of your finger, followed by water, will absorb the 3 magnesium molecules and will quench your thirst. It will hydrate you at a new level because the magnesium is getting extracted from the Celtic sea salt, and that is amazing for the body. So that will hydrate you and replenish the minerals that you lost yesterday. So particularly in hot weather, having a little dab of Celtic sea salt on the end of your finger and then following it by water, and then maybe not eating anything for 20 minutes or so, is fantastic for being able to hydrate correctly. Number 3, taking gentle walks every single day, just moving the body, moving the lymphatic system by gentle walking in nature will soothe your system, because when you're actually walking in nature rather than down the street, when you're walking in nature, you're actually tuning into nature's biorhythm as well, which operates at an alpha brainwave level, which is why the more time we spend in nature, the more relaxed we are. That's why we all go on holiday in nature. We might go to a beach, or we might go to the mountains, or we might go to a lake. The reason why we do that as human beings, because instinctively we know that we want to plug back in to that alpha brainwave, which nature naturally provides us with. It soothes us. Just that greenery or that blue naturally soothes us. Really simple. And 20 minutes a day will absolutely chemically change your system so you get better night's sleep, but also it will enhance your ability to rest and replenish and recharge any parts of your body that are out of balance. All of this is about finding a balance. And just gentle movements. You don't need to do strenuous activities, but moving the body is all you need to do for 20-30 minutes a day, and you will reap the benefits. I've had my mum walking like 20-30 minutes every single day for the last 3 years when I was taking care of her, and I noticed her energy levels had increased significantly, and she's like 80. So it's incredible to see even an 80-year-old see results significantly just by starting off really slowly and implementing some of these things. Number 4 on the list is just like light yoga stretches. 1 to 5 minutes of a light yoga stretch you can do. This is like super easy beginner. Just do the yoga asanas. In fact, even if you don't do any yoga, you could just do some light stretches. But I'd really advise that you try yoga or Pilates, because these types of workouts, just stretching the body, elongates the elasticity of the muscle, and then when eventually it's been stretched, it releases a lot of energy back into the body, which makes you feel lighter and freer. And then that gives you a greater headspace when the body feels lighter and freer. It's amazing how many men are poor at stretching. And the reason being is because as men, we think we need to be tough the entire time. But each athlete I've ever worked with or observed or studied are constantly stretching their bodies and stretching their minds so they can perform at a high level. So if you want to perform at a high level and have a greater quality of life, then stretching has got to be part of that. And if you're new to any of this, then just start a simple light stretching exercise and you'll notice how much better you feel. I've got a client who didn't stretch and has been stretching for the last 8 months, and oh my golly, is he thriving now just as a result. And he doesn't want to miss a day because of how good he feels and how he shows up in his business. This is a CEO we're talking about, so this is huge. Just by having this implementation of just small consistent actions daily will net you wonderful high levels of naturally high energy. Now, another thing that you can do that is underestimated is fascial release, muscle release. Now, the fascia is the covering that goes over your actual muscle. Now, when this is released, and one of the things I use is a foam roller, when you release the fascia, you are releasing a lot of pent-up energy that's in knots. So each time you're able to roll over the fascia, roll over that muscle and iron out some of the knots that you'll be experiencing in your body. I mean, I do this for 2 to 5 minutes every single day, and I notice that for the most part I am in incredible shape regularly, and I can do anything I need to do physically because I take care of the small things and I do it regularly. Only 2 to 5 minutes, doesn't take long, but it's nice to see my own personal results when I'm transferring it into playing tennis or paddle or whatever sports I'm doing, to always have this considerable energy resource on tap whenever I need it. There's a great freedom in being able to have energy, but there's a great freedom in your body being able to perform in ways that are satisfying for you. And all it takes is you showing up for you every single day in small increments. Massage is also really important. Can you afford to get a massage? But if you can, then I highly recommend getting massages, because that is also releasing the knots and freeing up energy inside of the body. These are the things that you can do. And last but not least, for level 1 for beginners, is deep breathing. And the 2 rhythms that I like for deep breathing that have really performed particularly well in my experience that I really recommend is the 4x4 box breathing. So when you breathe in for 4, you hold for 4, exhale before, and then you start the round again. This is a very powerful way to emotionally steady your ship, and it's incredibly powerful and very energizing for the body as well. The next breathing technique that I absolutely swear by is breathing in for 3 and exhaling for 5. This actually helps you enter what I call the theta brainwave state, which helps you rest better. Now, when you rest better, you're also going to digest your food better. This is very, very important. So people with stomach cramps and who find digestive issues is because they're not operating at some of these deeper levels of brainwave activity. They've gone into high levels of cortisol and fight or flight. The nervous system is basically active the whole time at a high level. So breathing in for 3 and then exhaling for 5, like a longer exhale, and then carrying that cycle for a few minutes. I do that for about 15 to 20 minutes a day, and I do it in the morning, and I notice the phenomenal experience that I have of lightness, of well-being, of ease that I feel as I enter my day. Now, I do this in a meditation, but you could just practice counting in for 3 and exhaling for 5. These 2 different types of breathing techniques brings mental restoration, and it will help you enter a deeper level of mind and reset your energy and help you tap into your natural high. So level 2, the first strategy is grounding. And for those of you who don't know what grounding is, it's basically just getting a part of your skin in contact with the earth. It might be sitting on the beach, swimming in the sea, swimming in a lake, walking on the earth, whatever it takes. But this act of just exposing the skin to the earth is known as grounding. And what it's actually doing on a cellular level, on a biological level, is reducing inflammation. Inflammation is usually one of the causes of, or byproducts of, stress, mentally and then physically. And grounding soothes your electrical system. That's why when you plug it into the wall, particularly in the UK, you've got the grounding element there. That is to stop excess sparks and excess energy and residue of excess energy getting out of control. And it's the same as us, because we're electrical as well. And being electrical, we also need to ground ourselves. That's why spending time in nature and exposing ourselves to nature in ways where we're actually getting our skin in contact with it for a prolonged period of time reduces that inflammation. The result that you get is that you feel lighter and happier and more relaxed. Just the other day, I went to the beach for 3 hours, and going to the beach for 3 hours after having a very busy week with clients and sport just absolutely set me up for the best week. And I noticed that it was just the good feeling that I get from being on the beach, but also how good it feels to be in contact with the sand and the water, and also getting the minerals of the sea on my skin. Amazing. But we don't understand why it's so good. You might just think, oh yeah, it's fun to go. But when you know why it's good for you as well, it becomes like a double whammy effect. So swimming in the sea, having a beach day, or lying in the park is really good for you to reset your energy, and it will also help you have a deeper night's sleep. Because remember, when you're well rested in the body, then you can also be well rested in the mind, which then carries into that deeper night's sleep. So these negative ions that you're collecting from the earth, which soothes your body of inflammation, works absolute wonders. Number 2, on level 2, is just like little power naps and afternoon siestas. Winston Churchill did it, Richard Branson does it. Some of the top leaders have these afternoon naps, 20 to 30 minutes. And it's amazing how much resting the mind of constant incessant activity just for 20-30 minutes creates an expansion in your brain, and also produces more serotonin inside of the body, and produces more oxytocin in the body, which is the love chemical. Because when we're pushing, we've got resistance, which is red lights, and when we're having naps and we wake up from naps, we feel refreshed and alive again. We enter back into what I call that green light territory. Then you're going to see benefits that will help you live a lot longer. So you're not pushing it against life. You're not increasing cortisol levels. You're increasing dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin back inside of the body again, which are all the good chemicals that make you feel good. I noticed that when I started applying this, my productivity and creativity went up about 80%. That is how important or powerful it can be when you just take a little afternoon rest or an afternoon nap. Huge, but don't underestimate its simplicity. The next point on level 2, which is the intermediate level for resetting your energy, is taking in about 12 fruits and veggies a day. 12 fruits and veggies a day seems like an awful lot. And in the UK, they say 5 is enough. But it really isn't. I've done my homework and I've had 5 fruits and veggies a day for a prolonged period of time, and I realised, hey, I'm not getting as much energy as I could. So I decided to double it or even triple it in some cases, and getting to a point where I was having about 20 fruits and veggies a day. And I was making a lot of juices, a lot of smoothies, and maybe that was a little excessive. So I brought it down to about 12, and I realized that was a lovely, happy medium. So if you could have a juice maker or a smoothie maker or a blender, you can get these 12 fruits and veggies in a day. And what it's going to do is keep your gut clean. It's going to make your skin look really good because it's going to add so much alkalinity to your system. Usually what happens in the human body when we only have 5 is we still take in a lot of inflammation. And inflammation is caused by a lot of acidity in the food, in the air that we breathe, in the drinks that we drink. And that acidity just builds up over time, creating inflammation. It's kind of like fire within inside of the body. So we need to alkalize the body, and you alkalize it by having more fruits and veggies. And one of the best ways you can do that is obviously by having a blender or a juicer and trying to eat the colors of the rainbow. And what you're going to be doing is extracting all those nutrients, and that's going to help you reset the body. And it will also give your mind a much better place to live from. You're going to have a happier mind when the body is being fed the right fuel. The next thing on the list is hot and cold therapy, having saunas and also having cold baths or cold showers. These is really important because we want to expose ourselves to extremities on the skin for us to be able to feel more inside of our body, because a lot of stress occurs in the mind, but when we expose ourselves to heat or cold, we're getting out of the mind and back into the body again. Stress is always caused in the mind, so when we expose our body to hot and cold, we're getting back into the body again, and the blood capillaries burst wide open, and that allows us to feel more inside of our body again. When you're doing hot and cold therapy, you're going to really feel more alive inside of your body. You're going to invigorate the body, particularly with the cold. And whilst it can be uncomfortable doing hot and cold, you're going to be surprised and delighted by how many natural endorphins you give off as a result of exposing yourself to the hot and cold therapy. Easy, because all you need is a shower and water, and you can do it. So I always tend to start my showers hot and finish really cold. And each time you are finishing on the cold, you're also allowing yourself to be uncomfortable, which is stretching the mind. And if you always only ever make yourself always comfortable, you're never going to stretch, you're never going to grow as a human being, and you're never going to enjoy a great quality of life. Because all of these things that I'm sharing with you to get naturally high means you're preparing for any eventuality life will bring to you. And you never know what life's going to bring to you. And life can bring curveballs. But when you have these well-being strategies in place, you're going to be naturally high. And so whatever happens, you're going to be able to deal with it from a high state of being rather than a low state of being. And the old me was operating at a low state of being, so everything felt like such a hard slog. But as soon as I started having all these well-being strategies in place, I'm being so surprised and delighted, not only by my successes, but also by my clients' successes. So just notice and try and find what works for you. The next thing you can do on the list is start your day with Mother Nature. So the first thing I start my day with is like a lemon water. That cleanses the gut. But then shortly after that, I'll have a juice. I'll make a green juice of some sort. And then within half an hour of that, because I know my digestive system is cleansing and absorbing all the nutrients, then I can have something a little bit more sturdy like porridge or granola or whatever else I want, or avocado on toast. These types of breakfasts, the actual food, is good within about half an hour. And the reason being is because you want the water element in your body to be able to flush through before you can start giving the earth element, which is the food. So this is really important. So starting your day with Mother Nature will also help you start your day with high levels of alkalinity that will give your body what it needs to have the best possible start, which will also give your body the best possible reboot and refreshment for the day. So if you can, water and maybe a juice of some sort, followed within half an hour with more of the earth element, which is the food, you'll notice that your digestion will be way better and you're going to have a lot more energy. And last but not least, for level 2 is something for the mind. Can you start your day with reading something that's uplifting and inspiring before you jump in trying to answer emails to everything? Can you read something uplifting, inspiring that gives your mind something that's enlightening for the day? it makes you more high-minded, where you're looking at life from a different perspective. Some people like to do affirmations. Some people like to have incantations by saying beautiful things and beautiful prayers. But reading something uplifting and inspiring can really change the course of your day if you start there rather than going straight into the reactive mode. You know, so many times I've had to tell my clients, start your day with something gentle, easy, uplifting and inspiring, and notice how those ideas empower you and your team throughout the day. Now, as we enter level 3, perhaps a little bit more advanced for some people that know level 1 and level 2, now we're going to talk about some other ways you can reset your energy and get naturally high. Level 1 and level 2 may seem a lot easier, they may seem straightforward, but let's start doing some disciplines and having some strategies that could really shift your energy, replenish better, have way more energy so that you can be more focused in your business, more productive in your work, make more money. Because if you want more in life, it means you've got to have more energy. It's really that simple. And if you don't have a great deal of energy, or you're not sleeping well, or you're finding life difficult for one reason or another, it's because you're not relaxing. And everything that you want is on the other side of where you are, and in order to get there you need to enhance your energy, reboot your system. You've got to have these skills in place, these strategies in place, these techniques in place, and implement them, however small, but regularly. The human system just works by showing up. And the more you show up, even if you don't know what you're doing at the gym on day one, if you keep going for an entire year, you're going to have some more clues about what you're doing just by showing up and watching other people. And the first thing on level 3 that I want to share with you that will help you reboot your system faster than anything, and I talk about it a lot, is having a daily meditation practice. And the reason why is because it nets you so many more green lights in your life than anything else I've ever come across. Just the act of sitting still in silence, despite your mind going round and round like a hamster on a wheel, if you can just sit there and follow your breath, or you can sit there and listen to a piece of music that allows your mind to just unwind, or you can sit there and look at a candle flame or a dot on the wall, or you can sit there and just feel the warmth inside of your body, but you're sitting there in a place of saying, I'm going to sit here and focus on one thing for a prolonged period of time, the mind is going to give in. And when the mind gives in, that's when you enter a state of meditation, because you have literally said to the mind, I'm focusing on one thing here, which is one of the things I've just mentioned. It's so powerful because my mind used to run around like an absolute dot running around the screen on a TV, like on a game. And eventually when I began to just sit down and say, hey, I'm going to sit down, my mind gave in, and I noticed that there was a space between thoughts that begin to extend a little bit. And that space became bigger and bigger, and the relaxation inside of my body began to feel deeper and deeper. And if you want to net green lights, then meditation will help you improve your cognitive functioning inside of your brain. It's going to give you greater memory. It's going to help you reduce toxins inside of your body. My body went absolutely haywire by eliminating toxins over a period of a couple of days. This is what happens when you reset the body. The mind needs to relax and let go of all tension, and when it does, you reboot the system. This is what a daily meditation practice does. If you're not sleeping well, meditation is going to help you sleep better. If you're finding stress or anxiety or worry, then daily meditation is going to help you. You know, if you want to have better productivity, then daily meditation is going to help you. If you're in a rush, then daily meditation is going to help you just relax a little bit, because then you're just fighting man-made clock. But when you relax, it just changes how you view the world. You see the world through a new set of eyes. The world hasn't changed, but the way you see it has changed. That's the difference. And when I've started showing up doing a meditation practice, within 4 months, I'd quit alcohol. I'd changed my diet. I began to see the world through a new set of eyes. But more importantly, I began to see more green lights and had more fun and saw a bit more beauty and magic in the world. whereas before I didn't even think that was even possible. So daily meditation is perhaps by far one of the greatest things you can do to learn how to rest and reset and reboot your system. Next thing you can do is to reduce alcohol, if only for a week. Just reduce your alcohol intake. Try and eliminate alcohol for a week and notice how much better you feel, because there's nothing wrong with alcohol. Just remember that it is highly acidic, and when your body's highly acidic, you're fighting against that so you can find your state of balance again. So I don't drink alcohol. I don't think that it's wrong to drink alcohol, but just remember, on a biological level, it's acidic for the body. And the body doesn't thrive in an acidic level, it thrives in balance. Everything is about finding a state of balance. The next thing on level 3 is intermittent fasting. So not eating for 16 hours and then having an 8-hour window. I've done this several times, and I've noticed that it can be particularly challenging because one feels super hungry. But the reason why intermittent fasting is great is because it begins to cleanse the stomach lining. And if we're always eating, you're not really giving your stomach a break in order for it to replenish and heal. So having periods of fasting is super important, and there's several different types of fasting. The next type of fast that can be really amazing for you is a 1-day juice fast or just water fast. But make sure if you're going to do a fast that you're going to do it with a little salt, like a little Celtic sea salt, because at least it's going to replenish the minerals that your body is losing. The reason why fasting is so great is just because it cleanses the gut and it cleanses the stomach lining. If you can imagine that your body is like a house, and each time you're filling it and you never give it a chance to cleanse it, then it's just going to build up with junk. And it's the same with your body and the same with your stomach. So in order to get the best out of your house, you've got to clean it regularly. And that's why fasting is so powerful. There's another type of fast you can do, which is a total body fast, which is something I did in Thailand. I did a 2-week total cleanse, and it was a period of like eating just salads for 2-3 days, having a week's fast, and then having salads again to come out. And this was really a gentle way to go through a wave of cleansing the body. And I noticed at the end, whilst I'd lost quite a few kilos, my eyes were very clear. I saw very clearly. My mind was very clear. And I could feel that my body, albeit a bit lighter, I felt very strong and very energized. And yeah, it was challenging to do a fast, but the results I got over a period of time were phenomenal. So if you're interested in doing a fast, think about having a supervised fast and notice how good it could feel. But I really recommend this. Do not try and do fasting when you're trying to work, because your mind is a lot lighter, and foods will ground you and keep you a lot more steadier on the ground. But when you're doing a fast, you can be a little bit more in the air element, so to speak. So the next thing on the list that I recommend that will help you rest and reboot and reset is oxygen therapy. Oxygen therapy is just breathing in pure oxygen for a prolonged period of time, maybe 20 minutes to half an hour or even an hour. This is resetting and rebooting your system so you can come back even stronger. There's 20% of oxygen that you're breathing in, 79% nitrogen. So having oxygen therapy will really help replenish and cleanse the blood as well. This helps you come back stronger and rest even better. That's why when someone's injured and goes into hospital, they go straight onto the oxygen, because that's going to help repair the body faster than anything else. Another thing you can do if you want to really go into deep levels of rest and reset is go to a flotation tank. A flotation tank is salinated water, which resembles, in my experience, a bit like the Dead Sea, and you're just floating on that in darkness. That's what I did for an hour at a time when I'd go to these flotation tanks. And lying, or should I say even floating in the dark, resembled going back into the womb, going back into your mother's womb. So it can be a very relaxing and resetting place. And yeah, until you try it, you'll never know what the experience is. That's why it's a bit more on the advanced level. So flotation tanks are particularly good, and the high salinated water is interesting because it's also replenishing the minerals as well on your skin. Other things you could do are like, going into clay ponds and putting clay all over your body, or mud ponds, like healing mud ponds. I've done that too and had the most amazing results and slept incredibly well. as a result of like having all this clay all over the body and all these natural minerals all over the body. What it really does more than anything else is it eliminates and pulls out all the impurities and toxins that are found on the surface of the skin, and once they're all rinsed off, you have the most phenomenal night's sleep. Again, this is all about you trying to reset and reboot your system so you get the best night's sleep. And there's two more, and the penultimate one is going to a sound bath and having beautiful sounds, relaxing sounds, soothe your nervous system. Solfeggio frequencies and different types of healing sound frequencies have the ability to help you have restorative sleep and help you go to deeper levels of mind where you begin to really relax the muscles, tissues, and reduce cortisol in the body significantly. Sound is the healing modality of the future, and going to these sound baths for a period of time, or even just trying something on YouTube, can work really wonders if you want to relax and really reset, because the frequencies that certain sounds produce will change the core structure cellular of the water molecules inside of your body, helping you go to deeper levels of relaxation. So that's why listening to good music that's very calming can have such a profound impact on you. And last but not least, sitting in darkness for a prolonged period of time could work actual wonders for you to turn off the external stimulant of light, and all light is information. But when that information is cut and you're in total darkness for a prolonged period of time, the mind can be free and create an elongated period of space inside of your mind between one thought and the next. When there's a lot of light, when there's a lot of music, when there's a lot of images, there's a lot of stimulation. But when all of that is taken away, there's a lack of stimulation, and that's when the body and the mind begin to really settle down. Only those of you who are really willing to go to the next level may wish to sit in darkness for a prolonged period of time. So those are my techniques and strategies for helping you reset and reboot your system, and so that you can sleep better, so that you can recharge your system better, because when you do, you're going to feel a whole lot better. And I hope you've enjoyed this content, and thank you so much to all of you who subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed, please do, or at least consider it, to keep getting more quality content like this. And if you haven't and you'd like to keep getting more of this content, I'd love it if you support the show. And I'm so thankful for all of you who support the show, so I can keep bringing you the best quality content that will transform the quality of your life. Thanks for listening, and until the next episode, I wish you a wonderful week ahead, and green lights all the way.